morning, everyone. It's time once again for the House Whisperers Show on WWDB Talk 860. I know you wait for this show every week, and here it is once again. Stay tuned for expert advice about maintaining your house from the roof to the basement and everything in between, featuring professional home inspector Jack Milne, who tells us, and he knows, that every house has a story. Hey, Jack, good morning.
Well, good morning, Barry. It's always great to be back on Sunday morning. Here it is, mid-November, and I don't know if you've been out in the stores, but all the holiday stuff is out. I mean, from the Macy's to the Home Depot. There's only a month left for Christmas and a few weeks for Hanukkah. And I don't know, Barry, I'm not a real holiday guy. I don't understand why the economy that depends on consumer spending of up to 70% keeps our economy in the black.
Black Friday.
I know.
And now they're opening on Thanksgiving Day.
Well, that's where the whole thing about friends and family is getting lost in this economic maelstrom, where they're now counting on you to get out earlier and earlier to get those big savings. But the fourth quarter sales in the big box stores accounts for 80% of all year sales. And to boot, to me, the busiest shopping day of which you mentioned is Black Friday. But you know what the second busiest day is?
It's the day that you return everything.
Yeah.
That's right.
The day after Christmas.
Day after Christmas.
Oh, and I do keep it.
Go figure.
Really, the day after all of our religious holidays, because folks didn't like their gift, which is, I can't believe it, or it didn't fit or whatever. But, I'll get off my soapbox, Barry, but, I believe on peace on earth and goodwill towards men. And both are very difficult to achieve, but I think one day in our lifetime we may see that. So anyway, today's topic is thermostats, how they work and how to use them. So before we kick in, I do want to thank my sponsors because, again, they help me pay the bills, and that's a wonderful thing. So Burrow Exterminating, termite and radon testing. This week I think I'll give websites because it's always good to check the websites out, folks, and they're at burrowexterminating.com. Bucksmont Inspections, they're at bmseptic@comcast.net. I'm sorry, that's their email. But they are at bucksmontinspections.com, which is their website. Pest Blaster for radon, mold, wood storing, insect evaluation, pest removal. Their website is simple. It's pestblaster.com. And I don't think anything gets simpler than brainflushgear.com because that is their name and that is their website. And so I'll give the email, which is contact@brainflushgear.com. If you have any ideas, you want to see them put into reality, work with Kevin Zollner, and he will make it work for you. And, of course, Tri-County Inspection Company. We're at tcinspect.com. I've got 5 inspectors. They're all excellent in their field of expertise, from old homes to new construction, pre-listing inspections, 1-year warranty inspections, simple questions that can be answered with a partial inspection. We help people in all different kind of ways. And, if you have a contractor who's coming in and ready to spend your big bucks and hard-earned dollars, if you want a second opinion, why don't you give us a buzz? And for a simple partial fee, we can come out, we can explain your dilemma. We might be able to help you through it. And sometimes just through simple things, repairs can be made or things can be improved where we keep the money in your pocket. So, again, we're at tcinspect.com. Local number for us, 215-295-2030. 609-882-5188 or 610-346-7880. And please, folks, let my sponsors know that you heard they're out on the House Whisper Show. It's great for them, and it really helps me. So I'm going to revisit the email box next week, because I think this topic, thermostats, their usage, will actually save us all money. But please email me any questions or topics, as I may be able to put your letter on the show or dedicate your question to your topic, as we can all learn from each other, and that's really the purpose of the show. So the email, or our email, is thehousewhispershow@gmail.com. Of course, previous episodes are now on site at thehousewhispershow.com. And I like the podcast idea. That's 24/7 at www.dbam.com. And what Barry and the folks at WWDB do is, from the moment that this show is over, it's now available until next week when I start a new show. So that's awesome.
Actually, Jack, it stays on there a lot longer than that. If you go check our website, your shows are backed up for quite a while.
I like that more.
Yep.
So let's kick into today's topic, thermostats, how they work and how to use them. So let's start with fossil fuels. Those are our gas products, our oil products, and propane products. And we're going to keep it simple, and we have a one-zone home, which means either one furnace or a boiler, and, again, one thermostat. So keep in mind, and, I think terms are important. How you know you have a furnace is that if it has a fan. If it has a fan, it has a filter. If you go downstairs and you see this box with multiple circulators and zone valves and pipes and pumps and everything else, then you got a boiler. So with furnaces, okay, the thermostat should be located by a cold air return on the main lower floor. For a ranch-style home or a colonial-style home, it may be found possibly out of the way in the dining room or the living room. But you never want to have a thermostat in the kitchen or the family room with a fireplace, as the heat from these areas will affect the performance of the thermostat with what we call false positives. I also ask that you keep the thermostat out of the hallway, especially by a front door, because every time the door opens, the draft may allow the thermostat to activate. Now, if you live in a bi-level, or what they call a raised ranch, then the thermostat will be on the second level, again, typically in the dining room, which is going to be directly opposite the living room. Now, with boilers, these locations will also work, as I mentioned earlier, but the thermostat should be placed on inside walls, particularly towards the center of the house. So, in other words, I would say by the bearing wall. Thermostat wire is thin and can be easily moved, and the thermostat can be moved by either an electrician or a heating contractor if need be. And, sometimes thermostats are moved. For example, I did a house about 2 weeks ago where they had a big hutch in the dining room. So what they did is they relocated the thermostat to the exact opposite wall, they punched a small hole right through the other side, which was in the hallway or the foyer. So, the seller said, yeah, it's really weird, Jack, because every time I open the door and I bring my groceries in, my furnace greets me. Well, absolutely, because that thermostat is going to pick up that all of a sudden there's a chill in the air, and now I have to kick on. Now, it may not kick on for long because the house is already pretty well balanced, but the mission of today's topic is to try to keep it not coming on a regular basis, because every time it does, the dollars are going to come out of your wallet. So how a thermostat works with a boiler is different than that with a furnace. So, in other words, if I'm in a home and it has hydronic heater radiators, I raise the thermostat. What that does is it activates the circulator. The circulator is going to pull water into the boiler. The boiler has what's called an aquastat. It senses that cold water is going to come in, and it's going to turn the boiler on. Once the thermostat is satisfied, then the circulator stops. The boiler senses that the water inside the vessel is now warm and doesn't have to cut on anymore, so it turns itself off. Sometimes with radiators, you may hear the tink, tink, tink of the pipe. Sometimes even with baseboard, we will hear that too. But So the activation is different. With a furnace, what it's going to do is it's connected to the pilot control valve, or it's connected to the oil pump for an oil-fired furnace. That's going to turn the demand on, and then it activates at a certain temperature. Then the fan kicks on and expels the heat through the supplies, but it's going to eventually work its way back to the return. And that's why you want the thermostat by the return. You want to measure the temperature of the air coming back to the equipment, not coming out of the equipment. So some homes have more than one zone. You could have two furnaces, or you could have ductwork with dampers. So now there may be two or more thermostats, for example, maybe in a finished basement, one on the main floor and one on the bedroom level. So each furnace should be sized according to demand, and that's really important. Sometimes when people finish their basements, a lot of times you really don't need heating or cooling because the basement tends to maintain a pretty steady temperature of about 65 degrees. And sometimes if that furnace is forcing the air into the basement, then you're going to feel drafts on the second floor. So if you're heating your home now, and the thermostat is on the kitchen level, and the majority of our homes have 8-foot ceilings, 68 degrees should suffice. But if you have 9-foot ceilings and lots of hardwood floors, 70 may be preferred. The upper thermostat, let's say on the bedroom level, however, should be lowered by at least 3 to 4 degrees of the lower thermostat because hot air rises.
Hey, Jack, we have a little break coming up, so how about if we pick up where we left off in just a minute?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, we're here with Jack Milne, the House Whisperer at WWDB, and Jack will be right back.
Boro Exterminating has been specializing in wood-destroying insect inspection and control for over 40 years, serving Philadelphia and the surrounding counties. All inspectors are state certified and ensure providing their clients with professional inspections and treatments. Boro not only performs conventional termite treatments, but also handles special services like historic buildings and homes with wells, creeks, or ponds. The client is assured that all treatments will be performed safely when you hire Boro to do the work. They also provide radon testing in their service area. Boro's full-time office staff is available to help you schedule an appointment. Just call 610-586-5640 or send an email request to boroinspects@verizon.net. That's 610-586-5640 or email at boroinspects@verizon.net.
Specially created T-shirts by BrainFlushGear.com offer the extreme sports enthusiast an opportunity to have a clothing line available that suits their sport. BrainFlushGear.com understands that when we get the moment where we can jump on our motorcycles, wave runners, surfboards, snowmobiles, or skateboards, it can be priceless. They offer custom artwork including silk screening, transfers, and embroidery. Speak to one of their consultants today, and they'll help you create your own Brain Flush. Visit BrainFlushGear.com or email them at contact@BrainFlushGear.com.
For your septic inspection and testing needs, please consider Bucksmont Inspections. They've been serving the Bucks and Montgomery County areas for over 15 years. As members of the Pennsylvania Septic Management Association, the Pennsylvania Association of Sewage Enforcement Officers, and the Pennsylvania Association for Professional Soil Scientists, Bucksmont Inspections can inspect your existing septic system or test for your new septic system placement. Please call Rob Bowie at 215-669-4213 and say you heard their ad on the House Whisperer Show.
As the weather gets cooler and the temperatures drop, the bugs might slow down, but the rodents don't stop. Mice and rats begin to invade homes during the fall and winter months, looking for food, warmth, and a comfortable place to nest. Don't wait for pesky rodents to invade your home. Fight back. Have your home baited and ready for their attack with Pest Blaster. Whether preventative or a full-blown infestation, give Pest Blaster a call at 215-295-5555 and they can discuss the solution to your problem. They also offer humane animal removal services for a wide variety of wild animals, damage repairs, and cleanups. Call them today at 215-295-5555 or check them out at pestblaster.com, servicing both New Jersey and Pennsylvania. Pest Blaster, 215-295-5555 or pestblaster.com for all your pest control needs.
Tri-County Inspection Company has been providing professional home inspections, commercial inspections, and historic property evaluations for over 25 years. Tri-County Inspection Company covers 13 counties, serving both New Jersey and Pennsylvania. They've performed inspections for over 70,000 clients and are members of the American Society of Home Inspectors, as well as the Pennsylvania Home Inspectors Coalition. They are licensed in both Philadelphia and New Jersey. For all of your real estate transactions, call Tri-County Inspections at 215-295-2030. For their New Jersey clientele, call 856-853-4224. In PA, call 215-295-2030. In New Jersey, 856-853-4224.
Our house is a very, very, very fine house with two.
Once again, we're back with Jack Milne, the House Whisperer, talking about a great topic today, thermostats. And Jack, it's all yours.
Well, thank you, Barry. Yeah, we started the show initially with talking about simple systems, and now we're getting to ones that are a little bit more complex. We're talking about a home that has two zones or more. So you're going to have a thermostat on the main level and one on the bedroom level. So as we were mentioning, if you have taller ceilings on your first floor, you may have to set your thermostat around 70 degrees to feel comfort on that first level because heat will naturally rise. But at the same time, on the second floor, you don't have to set your thermostat at 70. Maybe try 66 or 67 because the air from the warm air from the first floor is definitely going to migrate upstairs. So I want you to try that. Now, again, the thermostat should be within several feet of the cold air return because it wants to measure the temperature of the air going back to the furnace. Now, a boiler with multiple zones allows thermostats to measure the temperature specific to each area that needs to be heated. So, for example, my home has three zones. I have one in my family room because my family room's on a slab. I have a thermostat in my living room that controls the majority of my home. I have a third zone in addition I put on a number of years ago. So if the addition, which is a guest room, is not being used, folks, I turn it off or I turn it down. The main house, of course, is most important for general comfort. And the family room, because it's on a slab, boy, it's really nice to feel that radiant heat and you don't feel the cold against your toes. So a number of years ago in Doylestown, I had a house with 30 zones. It was incredible.
Wow.
Good. It drove me wild, Barry. I mean, what I ended up doing, folks, is going to each room and raising the thermostat, verifying the presence of heat, and then as I left the room, I turned it back to their desired temperature. So that's how controlling you can be with a boiler over a furnace. Now, for thermometers. For thermostats, there are different styles to use, and you can use setback thermostats, you can use digital thermostats, but some thermostats you don't want to adjust, which are for heat pumps and or electric baseboard. We're going to touch on that in a minute. So I know we're talking wintertime, but with a thermostat, of course, it's going to work for you over the summertime. So I know we're probably 5 or 6 months away from that right now. But what I want you to do is when you heat your home on your thermostat, you're going to see something called a fan control. And during the heating season, I want you to put the fan to the auto position. In other words, I want you to bring the house up to temperature, let the house chill a little bit, and then let the thermostat reactivate and rewarm the house. So as I tell my clients, I want this ebb and flow of the warm air going throughout your home. But it's imperative, folks, for the summer that you go to that fan control switch and turn the fan to the on position. okay, because I want that fan to run on a continual basis. Because one thing's for sure is that during the summer, the attic is going to maintain a constant temperature somewhere of at least 120 degrees to as much as 180 degrees, depending on the age of the home, its insulation, as well as ventilation practices. And this is where you really want to be the most comfortable during the hottest points of the summer. So with the fan to the on position, what's going to happen is it's going to draw that warmer air from the second floor and blend it with the cooler air of the first floor. This is how you're going to balance your home. And I love dads when I have kids with me, when I'm doing their kids' inspection, because they say, well, for 30 years I always set my fan on auto. And then I explain to them that, well, let's look at it, that if you keep it on auto, the thermostat's on the lowest level, the thermostat's going to be satisfied because it's on the cold floor. The warm floor says, what about me? So if you get to balance the home, you can actually set your thermostat about 4 to 5 degrees higher than what your brain likes. And remember, air conditioning is not freezer closet or ice box. It's removing the humidity that makes us uncomfortable. So if you like 74 or 75 degrees in your home, try your thermostat at 77, 78. If you go away, don't turn it off. Turn the thermostat up. Put it to 80 while you're gone if you go to the beach or you're going on vacation for several days. Because when you get back, you're only bringing your house down 2 or 3 degrees. That's it. Because if you come home after that weekend and, the relative humidity in your home is 60 to 65%, it's going to take you 6 hours to bring that house back to your comfort zone rather than a half hour. It's much more cost effective that during the cooling season, keep the fan to the on position. Keep in mind that when we move air, of course we have a blower, and a blower is going to force air into the space. But at the same time, it's also creating a vacuum, and that's what lets you cold air return because we have to bring the air back. So by balancing the home, opening dampers, closing dampers, you can also force the air where you want it to go. So, for example, my dining room I hardly ever use. My living room I use occasionally. Now, my thermostat is located in the living room, so one damper I close, one damper I open, so that this allows my air to migrate around the house where I really want to use it. And so you can do that, folks. Some homes will have damper controls in the main plenum. So they look like little levers. So if you're getting toasted in your family room, but you're freezing in the living room, well, close the dampers accordingly and force the air to different portions of your home. And this will make the house feel more balanced. Heat pumps are a whole different animal. Heat pumps are essentially air conditioners that work in reverse and provide heat too. So when I have clients that have not had a heat pump before, I have what I call the rules of thumb. And rule number one is, and that's why it's rule number one, is that you don't play with the thermostat when it's time to heat the home. Heat pumps work best by maintaining the temperature, not creating the temperature. And any time that you raise that thermostat by 2 degrees or more, you're activating what we call the heat-resistant coils or the emergency backup coils. This is like a toaster with a blower or electric baseboard heat with a blower. It's a much more expensive heat, and you will absolutely see it reflected in your wallet. So that's why it's rule number one. Now, heat pump air out of the supplies as it comes into the room is about body temperature, 98, 99 degrees. So sometimes if you move from a fossil fuel home to a heat pump home, you may feel a little bit chilled. Now, your body will accustom to it. Your parents may need a sweater. It's not a system that you turn down when you go to work. It's not a system that you turn down when you go to bed. So find that comfort level, and then, like the old Beatles song, let it be. During the air conditioning season, however, keep the fan to the on position, just like we talked about. Heat pumps are a different animal. You have to treat them with respect. They do not need a setback thermostat. because you'd have to bring your house up to 2-degree increments by the time that you set it and to the time you get home. It's not worth bringing your house down in temperature, then up in temperature during the course of the day. It's just going to put more stress on the thermostat. And remember, folks, you're going to have to set it for a different pattern come the weekend. And that's my next point. Don't buy a thermostat that you have to be a rocket scientist to figure it out. Keep it simple. Some of these thermostats I see on a daily basis are nuts. And it's even difficult for me to override them. And then I feel guilty that I have to override them because I have to check the heating on a warm day. I have to check the air conditioning on a warm day. But no home inspector should ever touch the thermostat to check air conditioning when the temperature drops below 60 degrees on average. Because from about mid-October now to mid-May, home inspectors have to step back. And the reason why is if we activate that thermostat, the refrigerant actually gets too cold, and the oil that's laying in the bottom of the compressor coagulates. Just like if you haven't run your car for a while and it takes a while to crank over. Well, the reason it takes a while to crank over is because the oil is thick. And if I do that, I blow the compressor. I don't have happy clients. I don't have happy sellers. I don't have happy realtors. So for this time forward now, we have to sit back and wait until May. For electric baseboard heat, most thermostats are going to be located within each room. For those main areas, like the living room, dining room, kitchen, main bath, master bedroom, etc., again, it's not energy effective to turn them off during the day. If you want to turn them down, go for it. Maybe put them to 60 because they don't have to work as hard to bring the house up to your 68 or 70 degree level of which you prefer. Do me a favor, folks. Read the instructions on your thermostat. Know how it works. We're now past daylight savings time, so you have to recalibrate if you have not done yet from the summer. So respect it. Know how it works, because at the end of the day, I'm out to save you all some money. So as it is Sunday, it is time to go. Please spend time with friends and family. And I'll see you next week on the House Whisperer Show.
Hey, always good having Jack Milne on here. And tune in again next week for another edition of the House Whisperer Show with professional home inspector Jack Milne. And you can listen to previous programs, or if you have any questions, visit thehousewhisperershow.com. This is Barry Reisman on WWDB Talk 860. Thanks for listening.
La, 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 la.